Hello, my name is Toby Pilgrim and welcome back to I Hate White People, including me. This time it's about British turf queen J.K. Rowling, specifically Harry Potter. I don't like Harry Potter that much. I'm actually very happy to be making this video because I cannot shut my mouth any longer about this topic. This is something that has infuriated me for what feels like eons. I think the best way to start this video is by saying how my relationship with this franchise is. Like many of you watching, I slurped the absolute living hell out of Harry Potter as a kid. I was a little obsessed. But the thing is that I always enjoyed movies over books. They're both amazing mediums that I both very much enjoy. But if I had to choose between a good movie and a book, I will always pick the movie. So while I did very much enjoy the books as a kid, I really liked the movies. That's where I think everything like falls apart. Just like you, I watched every movie as a kid religiously. This was my bread and butter. But what separates me from you is that I rewatched it while I had a fully developed fucking brain. The movies are bad. Not just politically and morally, which will be the main point of this video. Not just because I hate Rowling, which will be the main point of this video. The acting is laughable at best and unacceptable at worst, and the story is just very much overrated in my opinion. Like bad. The kid acting. So what I want to say is that I was part of this fandom for a disappointingly long time. Not as long as say anime, but you know, you get the drill. Harry Potter paved the way I consume media, the way I like media to an extent, and it was a very big form of escapism for me as a child. That's why it's even more disappointing. Let's get to the point in this video. Normally I like it very much when it's all about me, and me. Now I want to focus on this dumpster fire. This video doesn't have an order. The points I'm making are not ordered by how bad I think they are. With that out of the way, let's see why Harry Potter is problematic. I want to sprint right away to the first point, which is animal cruelty. Something that always left a kind of a bad taste in my mouth while experiencing it was the animal cruelty. We have scabbers, or spoiler, Peter Pettigrew, who as a rat experienced various form of Kobe. What I'm saying is the damn rat was thrown around, and at that point everyone was clearly thinking that it was a normal rat, and for some reason nobody really bothered helping or like preventing it. Ron treated that rat like shit all the time, and I'm not saying that animal cruelty can't be part of your story. I don't want to normalize though. Same with that one Hov, that owl that flies into his windows. Nobody cared about the poor fucking thing. Dumb thing has to send more letters. Who cares about this anyway? And in Hogwarts, in class, there's so much animal cruelty because most of the magic testing is towards animals. And I'm not talking about Moody and his fucking spiders. I'm talking about the many times we see an animal trying to desperately escape whatever fate it has in this classroom. That's not very nice to look at if you take a breather and think about it. This part isn't really a big problem. That's why I started with it. Frankly, if it comes to it, the animals aren't real. I enjoy media where animal cruelty is portrayed. Woman! So, we know, on this channel, women, right? They're perfect. Portrayal of women in like everything, but specifically Harry Potter, because this is a Harry Potter video, not that great, right? Gives off this weird vibe. Yeah, I like Hermione. But other than that, most girls were portrayed as annoying, which is a very big problem in children's media with a male main character. And the women were portrayed as stern teachers, mothers, or just fucking idiots. Yeah, there's Professor Sprout, but that character barely fucking exists, if we're being honest here. And every single one wanted to fuck Lockhart. And nobody got that he was a fraud, which I never really got, even Hermione. which made me fucking angry. Most women are defined by their motherhood or as a teacher, which reflects J.K. Rowling's stance on trans women even more now that I think about it. All girls were over emotional. Everyone was obsessed with relationships, well, except Hermione and Luna Lovegood, but that's another problem in itself, yada yada yada. And of course, J.K. Rowling had to make sure that every single girl that survived this story would marry a handsome man and be a great mother. And there's Ginny. Ginny wasn't a character. She was there. She was there when Harry needed her there. And Hermione, even though I like her, didn't age well. The older I get, the more misogyny there is, the more she's just a pick-me. She is blueprint. Oh, she is blueprint. I am not like other girls. She was always different. She didn't like the other girls because of their girl problems and was sometimes even misogynistic herself. But hey, she's portrayed as hysteric and self-opinionated and egotistical. But of course, when Harry and Ron are too lazy for something, she's doing the dirty work. Relationships. Romantic relationships in Harry Potter. There's not that many important ones because the books are very sex negative, which no fucking shit. But the few relationships they have, they're fucking dog shit. We have Harry and CHANG. It feels stupid to say the name. Name the only Asian character CHANG. I'm sure that's perfectly reasonable. She's somewhere from East or Southeast Asia. Give her a fucking Korean surname as her first name and a Chinese surname as her surname, which could also be the romanization of a Korean surname too. And, you know, of course she's in Ravenclaw, where all the smart kids are because Asian people smart. Jesus, let's get back to relationships. I'm actually kind of okay with the relationship. At least in the books, they want to really show you that it's not gonna work. Harry doesn't know what to do, where to start. Relationship gets fucked. Then Cho is for some reason bad because she sticks to her friends, which is bad, I think. Then we have Harry Potter and Ginny, which, like I already said, Ginny exists to be his girlfriend. What is she? She's a fangirl and then she's feisty. They barely have any dialogue. Nice. We have Ron and Hermione, which I absolutely hate. They aren't good friends. They're not good to each other. Ron shames Hermione for being too strict, taking things too seriously. She shames him for his laziness and is, if I'm being honest, strong word here, sometimes ableist. We have Lily and James Potter. Who? Lily is like Ginny, really. They do not give a shit about her perspective. We always hear about how much James liked her and how much love there was, but do we hear anything from Lily except, of course, she's a very good mom. Now we're bringing out the big guns. I know this sounds a little bit on the nose, but slavery. By this point, everyone should probably know that slavery exists and that it's normalized in Harry Potter, but as a freshly reminder, the house elves are slaves. This is not an exaggeration. They are literal, by definition, slaves. They have, like every other species in the world, from the law, less worth than wizards and witches. They aren't allowed to vote. They are not free in the sense that they can't participate in society and do unpaid slave work like Hermione says. And for some reason, she's the only one that says it. All of the other ones, nah, I don't care. Literally saying they want it and they're born to do it. And that's it. Those are exact arguments for slavery that humanity has made. Even the house elves say the same. They're perplexed as to why Hermione wants them to have fucking rights. Well, everyone except Dobby, but Dobby's kinda weird, right, guys? He's weird, right? HETERO-CIS-NORMATIVITY. This is something not exclusive to Harry Potter, but also in Harry Potter and with, you know, the things coming out of that wretched woman's mouth. I found it very fitting. Let's talk about something that was made very clearly ever since Dumbledore has had a lot of gay sex with Grindelwald. The sexualization of gayness is a big problem in itself, which I'm probably gonna make another video about, but what I'm trying to say is that the world is very heteronormative. Everyone which we know about, except those two, is hetero and cis. Well, is hetero, and everyone is cis, which no fucking shit. Because as we all know, every single character out of Harry Potter's generation except one is married. So J.K. Rowling was like, of course, hetero, and of course allosexual, because they all need their kids, and of course cis. Sorry to break it to everyone, but that's not realistic. Even in the 1980s or whatever the fucking books are based on. It's J.K. Rowling. It's J.K. Rowling. The reason this video and my hatred towards J.K. Rowling exists is because of her transphobic remarks. She's of the opinion that whatever dangles between your legs is what makes you your gender. You can dress up as a woman, I guess, as long as you aren't angry at other women for misgendering you, you fucking tranny. Queerness. At least homosexual people exist for J.K. Rowling. You know, look at my guy Dumbledore. I'm here to ruin things, so of course I have to say something against that. Grindelwald, sorry to break it, is a not so subtle Hitler metaphor. It doesn't take much to see their relationship as someone who's a villain trying to seduce our good hero into unmoral homosexuality, and then our hero is single for the rest of their life because he's morally right? Did J.K. Rowling do this on purpose? I don't fucking know. It's the only fucking gay couple we have in this world, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. We also have a lot of Christian values and metaphors in Harry Potter, which is a problem in itself, and when you think about what the church says about the gays, yikes! While we're already here, we have to talk about the werewolves, who are a metaphor for AIDS. And I'm sorry for pulling this out of my ass. My only source is the author herself saying it, so kinda not sure if it's even a thing. It's a metaphor because of how society looks at them, treats them, looks down on them. When we look at it, which group of people are stereotypically associated with gays? Which group of people are stereotypically associated with AIDS? Gay people. And then we have someone like Fenrir Greyback who infects little kids with werewolf AIDS. You can kinda guess what the problem is here, right? While J.K. Rowling has to let everyone know that the only good werewolf, Lupin, I'm saying Lupin. I like Lupin more than Lupin. 100% definitely hetero. Nah, and that kind of opens other problem. If you don't define the sexuality of a character, then you open doors for interpretation of your fans, which hurts no one. It hurts no one. It doesn't. You can just let the kids imagine that fucking, I don't know, Snape is gay. But no, J.K. Rowling really wants you to know that Snape, Lupin, Sean, Dean, and Tonks are all 100% cis, allo, hetero, whatever. They're not gay kids. Stop fucking dreaming, alright? I know you like my books, but please don't make the characters gay. A bunch of fucking white people. Hey, did you ever think about what a Muslim kid would do in Hogwarts? I didn't, because they're not there. Other than that, there's just really not a lot of POC characters when you think about the amount of people in this school. And even if J.K. Rowling tries to argue that she didn't write Hermione as white, she did. We have not a lot of POC characters. Lee, Alicia, Dean, Kingsley, and Blaze are black. The Patil twins are Indian, and Cho is something, some way Asian. All of the other characters, white, mayonnaise. The Patil twins, while already having the girl problem, have the ugliest fucking sari you've ever seen in your life.
See, this is what's wrong with you coons. You so in love with white folks that you can't even have a little compassion for yourself. You so in love with your oppressor that you can't even have a little bit of compassion for your own people.
Which a lot of people had a lot of problems for a lot of time. Cho is not that popular, has her name and, you know, her stereotypes, which we discussed earlier. And there's not a single POC that plays a big role in the books. I'm gonna talk about Muggles. Rowling tries to form this narrative of the Muggles are half-bloods and minorities, which just goes to, hey, we don't have to kill them, that would be a bit brutal, right? But we don't have to like them, right, guys? Really fast. Even our heroes use the word Muggle, which is a metaphor for the N-word. They don't even think about not using it. They don't even try to think about why the Muggle world is separated to theirs. It's just like that. They would rely on magic too much for our own good. And then we have one of the characters I dislike the most. One of my friends is gonna dislike me for this one, but Mr. Weasley, who I really don't like Mr. Weasley. He loves Muggles the same way sex tourists love exotic women. He's someone who collects artifacts from a culture he doesn't understand, is fascinated by it, but just doesn't get it, which is a white people trope. Look at our fucking museums. Many different people come of mixed families. There's a lot of half-bloods, and at the end of the day, mixed marriages are a-okay in the Harry Potter universe. But then there's only one person who marries a Muggle, and that's Cho, and we don't even know their name and gender, but of course they're a man because it's J.K. Rowling, so great. Why is everything bad ugly? Harry Potter really likes to value people on how they look. Every bad person in this world is described as ugly looking. Harry Potter describes them as ugly, and he really likes to make animal comparisons. Dudley looks like a pig. Malfoy looks like a weasel, Umbridge looks like a toad, Snape has oily hair, Crabbe, Goyle and Millicent
Look, Harry, there I am again! Look!
are fat, which is fatphobic, which is fucking bad. There's not a single person on the bad side who's not ugly. But the good ones look ugly too, I hear ye say. Yeah, J.K. Rowling likes her characters ugly for some reason. Maybe she reflects on reality. Harry is lanky and has O legs. Hermione has messy hair and rabbit teeth. Ron is gangly and pale, but none of them are described as being ugly, not in the way the villains are described as being ugly. And even if Tom Riddle and Grindelwald were very attractive when they were young, as soon as they use dark magic, they are some of the fucking ugliest bastards you've ever seen. That everyone knows. Everyone is sure that being ugly is evil. Child abuse, Harry Potter gets abused by the Dursleys. There's not a single argument against that. He gets beaten, he gets thrown into a closet, is locked in that closet, and is permanently psychologically abused too. And after all that, completely ordinary. He still talks back, has a solid self-confidence, and has no problems making friends and trusting people. Not even that. Many things about the abuse are made fun of. You know, Vernon has the red dots, Dudley is fucking fat, Petunia is hysteric, and of course it's not Harry's own family that abuses him. Why is that a problem? It shows a picture about how victims should behave. A picture that actual victims can't fulfill. It is expected that Harry Potter notices his abuse. It's expected that he's an ordinary, normal child, that he doesn't have neuroses, and he needs to be saved. He doesn't save himself. It shows children of abuse that they're weak if they can't cope with their trauma, if they can't just overlook years of trauma because magic school. Colonialism. I'm kind of cheating because it's not Harry Potter, it's more Fantastic Beasts and Pottermore, but whatever, it's my video. All the other schools are based on racist stereotypes and have a lot of pro-colonialism. Every single school that's not Hogwarts are defined by what the British wizards teach them while they came to them as part of their colonialism. We have Ilvermorny, who the British wizards came to the indigenous wizards and teach them how to use a staff. In other words, they force them to perform magic in the same culture as them. And there's always something in all the other schools too that shows what they learned from Hogwarts, because the people have to know that no other school is as important as the British one. There's also the problem with Rowling not really getting the concept of how many people live in these countries or the continents. 30% of all people live in Asia, but they get like fucking 2 schools. Great. Anti-Semitism. By now, everyone probably knows about the goblins. I'm keeping this one short because I wanted to include it, but you probably already get the picture. The goblins are way worse in the movies, but are still bad in the books. Don't come at me with, but Rowling wasn't that involved in the... She was. she was involved in the movies, she had at least enough involvement to tell them that the portrayal wouldn't be that great. What makes the goblins anti-Semitic? Well, we have hook-nosed little men who are extremely greedy, who work at a bank, who are valued less than a human. An anti-Semitic caricature that would make Hitler proud. We have to talk about the movie. We have to talk about the Star of David. There's a fucking Star of David at the bank. Oh, but it was already there at the place that we're shooting at. So yeah, the 8 movies long multi-billion-dollar fantasy franchise couldn't edit them out. No one was like, hey, let's not make the goblins Jewish. J.K. Rowling. Last but definitely not least, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The worst is always the last. J.K. Rowling is a white feminist. There's no arguing that. For everyone that doesn't know what white feminism is, it's a form of feminism, no shit, that builds itself on the morals that the moment women have the same rights as men, the world is healed. No other problem in the world. Intersectional topics are at best overlooked and at worst made fun of with phrases like sexism is worse than racism. It's always festered with pro-colonialism, but also internalized misogyny that's also built on top of fucking transphobia, as in there's specific things you have to be accepted as a woman. White feminism is very popular in the UK, just like every other ism. She has no problems in writing and in real life to involve herself with racism, sexism, transphobia, and all the other things. She doesn't react to criticism or makes it even worse. But I want to really quick talk about all the transphobia. I can make a whole video about just her transphobic manifesto, but I'm not. I'm making this one quick because I'm very exhausted about this. J.K. Rowling is a transphobe. There's no arguing that. If you clicked on this video and didn't think that I was gonna talk about this, you're a fucking idiot. Many people could already tell by the little things she has done over the years, but she finally went clean on her transphobia by speaking about Maya Forstater, specifically for Maya Forstater. Forstater lost her job because of transphobic tweets, stuff like you can't change your gender, your biological gender determines who you are. It's just fucking bullshit, you know, and sued the company because of it. She first lost, then sadly won, but in that short, godly, happy time when she lost the case, Rowling was a bit angry about that decision. She came on Twitter and angrily cried about why women were getting fired for telling the truth. And if that's not enough, she also cried about the term menstruating person being used and not woman, then cried her heart out about how the biological gender was real and that anybody who thinks otherwise just wants to discriminate women. And if that's not enough, public toilet discussion. If that's not enough, just read her anti-trans manifesto. It's on the internet. There's a link in the description. You can read it for yourself. Trigger warning for everything bad. She's the blueprint for a problematic author, and she really works on that image. Epilogue. Thankfully, most Harry Potter fans know at least what a horrible person Rowling is, so you just try to not think about her, try to not put money in the franchise, and just live harmoniously in nostalgia. Because the books are from 1997. They're fucking old, alright? Nearly 25 years old. It was a different time. Children's books were white, sexist, racist, and all the other things. The thing is, if you can still enjoy Harry Potter, great. I envy you. If you're aware of all those things, know that they're bad, and don't put any money in Rowling's bank account, great. Sometimes it's nice to dwell in nostalgia. I know a bunch of people whose comfort medium is Harry Potter. I can't enjoy that privilege. I can't think of Harry Potter and not think about the horrible things it has done. I envy everyone who can. Now the thing is, I always have to end things with something negative. I can't end this video saying it's okay to enjoy Harry Potter. I don't think it's a morally right choice to read your kids Harry Potter, to show the new generation Harry Potter. There's enough books that have a diverse cast without sexism and racism and anti-Semitism and transphobia and homophobia and HETERO-CIS-NORMATIVITY. that don't have a slavery is sometimes good moral, that don't normalize child abuse and without horrible relationships. If you read your kids Harry Potter, you're part of the problem. You're part of keeping this franchise alive. You're part of keeping Rowling's wallet alive. We should learn that even what we, the millennials, the Gen Zers, enjoyed in our childhood isn't always that great. A lot of outdated shit. So we should just stop, let these problematic things be a part of history, and move on, instead of projecting these problems onto our next generation. I hope you liked this video. I hate J.K. Rowling so much, and I hope you understand this a bit better now. Leave a like, subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful morning, lunch, afternoon, evening, night, whatever. Bye bye.